absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormie Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of May 22nd, where this week I actually love the get up and go energy that is available to us, especially as we're coming right into the week. We've had several weeks where I feel like I love a good void of course moon and we need to ease in and reset and just kind of, let the week come upon us. But this week we're actually starting out not only with the moon in the energy of Cancer, which it's in domicile, so it's very, very powerful. But first thing, as we're coming to the Monday energy, we get Mars in a square to Jupiter. Now, typically the square, as seen as that hard aspect, this is actually something that tells us we've got some get up and go, some chutzpah, start it, let's go energy available to us this week. So we want to be maximizing that. Now, also keep in mind, here's something I was thinking about. Mercury is direct. Okay, but it's not out of its post-retrograde shadow time. We're not going to have that until we get to May 31st, June 1st, depending on where you live. But I do still think that this is a great forward motion. Information that you've gathered since March, definitely since April, you can take some more constructive action on beginning it and kind of having that push. So it'll be really interesting to see how this week unfolds for you, what you begin, what you start, what you allow to change directions, and where you're also feeling this internal pressure to make changes that you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but it seems like the time is now, like the coach clicked the start watch and you got to go right now. So that's very much so the vibration that we have for the week. Okay, before we jump in and actually talk about what is going on this week, please make sure you have checked out your videos from some of our friends who came over to teach content to you. We've got the video with Nicholas Polomonakis talking about the Venus retrograde in Leo. We're going to be dealing with this from June all the way until October with Venus in Leo energy. Now, we've recently had Mars come into the energy of Leo, so it's a whole dance. It's busy, it's fun, it's creative out here, but what does that Venus retrograde mean to you? Where are you going back to in your life? What years, what dates? You want to have time to review it so that when you come to test time, per se, you're ready. Okay, so grab that video, check it out, put it on in the background. It's podcast kind of style. We didn't have any slides or anything like that, so you're able to just let it be TV for your ears while you're doing stuff this week and coming into yourself in the space of your life and reviewing that, okay? Now, another video I still think is really great for you to be checking out is our one on Jupiter being in the energy of Taurus, and it's brilliant because Mick went through all 12 signs. There are timestamps. It's ready for you. Jupiter is traveling through Taurus. We had Jupiter come into that square with Pluto, so the old world is done, it's gone, it's changed. So it really is, when we think about the context of this week, so much about, okay, where are you ready to take this action and get this party started, So it's a really cool kind of energy. So those videos will be put at the end of this video, or you can always go to the homepage and look in the video section, or just look on the homepage and check those videos out, okay? All right, friends, let's get in here. So like I said, as we're coming into the Monday energy, the moon's traveling through the energy of Cancer. So you may honestly be a bit more tender, a bit more vulnerable, thinking about security, decisions around security. But also remember that the moon in Cancer is a cardinal energy. So I know that as we're coming into Monday at some emotional or internally driven energy, you are ready to start something. You're ready to take an action. You're internally motivated, the moon, to do something. And what could be the motivation? It could be family. It could be security, right? Now, one of the things I want to kind of calibrate us to when we're talking about moon and Cancer energy is that vulnerability is also a piece of the conversation that comes up when we're traveling in this Cancerian energy, right? Vulnerability being that ability for us to be hurt or to be afraid or to be exposed is when we see the evolved Cancerian energy come from outside of the shell. Right? It doesn't have to stay in the shell to be safe and protected and not harmed. There is a vulnerability of exposure to the elements. You think about it, when crabs, they walk sideways, right? Like they're very kind of indirect, but that's not the only kind of crab. What about hermit crabs? Did you know this? I found this out this week watching the internet. hermit crabs do this thing with other hermit crabs. So first of all, we see the vulnerability of the hermit crab where when the shell doesn't fit anymore, it has to come out of that protective layer. So it is vulnerable. It is exposed, but it's exposed to make a change to get to the next shell, right? So I didn't know this, that hermit crabs will, with other hermit crabs, if like the one's shell is too big or it's too small, but the other one has like, they'll do an exchange. And I'm like, whoa, the hermit crabs are out here with like this fantastic housing market that is really working out. And I had no idea about that. I think when I think about Cancerian energy and that Cancer symbol, I think of the little crabs and they're just all walking sideways. But there's so many variations of crab that are out there and how they function that it made me think about the vulnerability of the hermit crab needing to leave one shell to get to another. And that's very much so in alignment with what we've got to offer on Monday. Now, we'll also see Monday that Mars comes into a square with Jupiter, and I'm telling you, I love it. Okay, I love it in terms of the square is our 911. So it says, I need to do something. I need to take an action here. Now, we would love for it to be the evolved action, whatever that is for your lesson base, right? But really, what I think more about is that this square is like, I need to start. I need to expand. This is a fixed square. I've been standing in one place for too long. It's time for me to initiate and to take action to begin something. And that you get that boom of energy under Mars squaring Jupiter. Now, other things that can happen is while this is very courageous and you're like, I can take on whatever comes my way, throw them at me, that kind of vibe. There are challenges when this is expressing in a challenging, I don't feel confident, I don't feel courageous kind of way. One of the things it can show as is exhaustion. I'm exhausted. I've made a mountain out of a molehill, and now I feel like I can't take it. So I'm mentally or energetically depleted before I can even initiate change. Or to the other side, I feel like I've got all of this energetic output to offer this situation and into my life, and I take on too much. And before we're even at Wednesday, you're feeling that exhaustion kind of creeping in. So 2 suggestions I have for you. 1, pace yourself. Look around. Stop, breathe. Do you actually have the energy to not only start cardinal energy, but to maintain fixed energy, which is where this square is at for a very long time, and deliver that final product of whatever you take on. Now, one other cool astrological trick you can use that I use with all of my clients is look at, first of all, your natal lunar phase. And this is not the sign necessarily that your moon is in, but it is your natal lunar phase. And I've got some videos out there. I've got a whole class on it that you can buy and take. All of that's in the description box down below. But also, by understanding that, then looking at your progressed lunar phase, this is where the good is at, because it'll tell you the pace and the speed of life that you're even in right now. And that helps you decide how to actualize the energy of your transits that are coming available to you. So one example I just want to share with you and how I use this and how you can use this, right, is we've got this Mars Jupiter. I'm courageous. I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to initiate something. Well, if you're in a first quarter progressed lunar phase, it is time to initiate, and you may be initiating harder, faster, smarter. You're building at a pace that someone who is at a progressed balsamic or last quarter phase is not going to take the same kind of actions because they're in that slowed down, dying off, bringing to an end of a cycle, low and slow energy. So check these out, because what I would love for you to be doing is using your astrology wisely to work smarter, not harder. Don't work against your life. This is where we see illness, injuries, increased defeat, and depression show up, as opposed to when you're working wisely within your phase, it is delicious. It is like you do not wear you don't take your car to the dentist to get it fixed, right? You want to work where you're at, okay? All right, let's see what else we've got going on. Now, Tuesday is actually a little bit of a quiet day in the sky. It's a very lunar energy. So again, I think that some of this internal energy carries over. But as we're coming into the day early on Wednesday, this is where we hit the void of course time. So on Wednesday, early in the day, probably before you're really up and moving, unless you're a part of our early bird people, then you want to rest and you want to recover, you want to review and just finish things in your space. Remember, you have more time to finish and complete and not always need to be moving forward than we really give life credit for handing us as well, okay? Now, we're going to see early AM, 9 a.m.-ish time frame when we're talking about Pacific time. We're going to look at the moon now coming into the energy of Leo. So again, where we've just had some starts, we've also got some new motivation. We've got new courage, a new play, a new spirit of being willing to take a risk that becomes available for you to use. Now, just after that, we're going to see Venus come into a square with Chiron, okay? So as this is happening in the afternoon on Wednesday, one of the things I want to call your attention to is this idea of like Chiron in Aries, your identity has been renewed. It has been reset, but there has been a wound to your identity, okay? And it's been worked on. You've been born anew in some way. It's likely also responsible for the different decisions that you will make on things you want to start or you want to end so that you can start something else. But it's really the space when Venus bumps against this Chiron energy that it's like, okay, hold on. I might be trying to move something forward here with this new identity that is challenging old values. And they don't seem like old values. It's like they were still valid on Monday. You know, but as this new version of you, this place where maybe the wound is either exposed and healing, or maybe even someone has triggered your identity wound. And so you're looking at, I've got to do something, squaring Venus, taking some kind of action. And it's like, hold on. I don't function that way anymore, or that doesn't have value to me anymore. I think it's a great place under this square to look at the Venus things. Look at the romance, or not just romance, but the relationships in your life. This is a big one. I think that this is a big one. And please let me know in the comment section down below if you are really about to feel this. But as we change, whatever the change looks like, it's not about you became better, you know, you became pretty and they became shitty. It's not like that. It's about as we change, we have to sometimes say goodbye. We have to say goodbye to some people because the value alignment is not here anymore. It is not cyclical. Or what happens, and if you've been in a long-term relationship, whether it's with finances, with a person, with a job, you understand how many deaths you have of the identity of the relationship that happen within one relationship in order to bring the values back into alignment. If you've been married long term, you've likely experienced this for sure. How many times in your long-term marriage have you died off in one form? Has your relationship died off in one form and was born into something else? And that's not to say that it died off in one form and was reborn as this beautiful phoenix that has risen from the ashes. Sometimes this is real life. We die off in the place that it was really working, and we are born into this is not working anymore, and we really have to review the value system and structure that we're working with here. But it's also a great time. I cannot stress this. I feel like I'm on a kick with this now. It's a great time to relook at why that relationship, whether it's with your finances or in your personal relationships, are not working, and the part that you play in it. Because again, not love doesn't always have to end because it looks broken. Sometimes the broken is the place where we learn what we brought into our relationship that's being activated from childhood, or is being activated in my home life based on a job or an idea or a set of values that I had for a long time that just don't fit here anymore. So you have the opportunity as well to kind of let your new identity help you uncover, discover, discard before you leave the job, leave the relationship, leave the whatever. Do a bit of investigation. You're built for it, okay? All right, so as we're traveling and we get through Thursday is looking pretty good as well until we get later in the day. So it's going to be in the evening and afternoon time, okay? Evening, afternoon, in the evening time. It's just in the evening. We're going to see Venus come into a sextile with fiery, electrical, sparky, Uranus energy. And this is innovative. So we already know we've got some innovation on the table. Now it's Uranus being in Taurus, so it's a fixed energy, and Uranus has been shaking out the dead bodies, but also the gems and the minerals that lie deep within the Taurus area of your chart. Because really what Uranus wants you to do is to Taurus the very best that you can. And the Taurus motto for life, the Taurus area of your chart, my soulmate friend, is chill out. Chill out, you're doing too much. Yes, that's beautiful that you can work hard. It's beautiful that you can endure. Chill out. Relax a little bit. So I'm curious to know for you, where is some of your Taurus innovation with Uranus here that you've been experiencing where you're like, yeah, that was keeping me trapped. That behavior was keeping me trapped. That thinking was keeping me trapped. That weight was keeping me trapped, right? Like where are you experiencing some freedom? Because now, as Venus sits in sextile to Uranus, it has access to actualizing these things. And one of the things I love with this combination is, as you've changed, as you have experienced your innovation, whatever it is, you have also called naturally by vibration into you new networks, new friends, new connections, new financial opportunities, new financial information that becomes available. It's a great energy to enjoy the newness that is around you. Now, something else I want to call to you here with Venus and Uranus in this is this principle and this idea. You know, I call you guys soulmates because I really believe that that's us. But it's this idea of exploring through your own innovation with Uranus here, where you can sense and you can feel your soulmates around you. And I'm not talking about the chaos, right? Because that's something else. I'm talking about where you think to yourself, God, I would really love to have this person or these qualities of a person in my life. Oh my God, I would really love to have this experience of finances or work or purpose, right? Like whatever it is, I want you to think about and close your eyes, even feel this one through with me, but where do you, thinking about those qualities that are already present, they're bubbling up out of you that you wish you had them in your space, where do you have people, places, resources, things around you that are already bringing those qualities into your life? But you were thinking, oh, I need this ideal job. It has to come to me in this form. Or I need this ideal purpose. With Uranus and Taurus, we expand that vision a little bit and go, well, now wait a minute. I said I wanted to have a person in my life who was attractive, and man, I sure do have all of these attractive people over here, or I have this one person in my life who's very attractive, and I get to experience the growth of my soul when I can see the presence of the universe attractive here, and my soul expands and I move in the vibration of beauty and attractiveness. And I wish I had just this intelligence in my life, this person who's got this intelligence, and maybe this IT professional over here is really intelligent, maybe not as hot, but really intelligent. And when I have a conversation where I experience the universe, the presence of the universe in that person, my soul expands its intellect, right? And look at where, and maybe it's in one person, maybe it's in many people, maybe it's in a class that you're taking. What are the qualities that you've been calling in at that soulmate level that you can go, I already have them around me? And as we do this, we take advantage of that innovation that Uranus has to offer to switch our vibration to acknowledge those things within ourselves, right? It's a really cool opportunity to experience. Now, I always love to pattern track back, so go back to February 8th of this year. We experienced Venus in a sextile to Uranus already. So what was also going on for you with some of these concepts back at that time, okay? All right, as we're rolling into Friday, we've got some serious void of course time, and we're going to have Friday. I'm going to tell you, Friday, if you can be on the chill out, that would really be a good idea. It is really not a good day to launch new projects or to do anything like that. I mean, really the bulk of the day on Friday, the energy is pretty flat in terms of starting new things or really trying to rev that old engine. Now, we're going to see that Mars does sit in square to the nodes, okay? So this is cool because it's like more than it just being Mars and Leo, this is where I need to take this action to drive something forward. I would say drive forward what's already here and look at your desire. What is it that you're really doing, and what's your desire energy behind it, right? Because when we take actions, you know, everybody's got to do things. Not everybody loves doing the laundry. I love doing the laundry. Not everybody loves that. It's a mundane task for some people and they find it annoying. Some people don't enjoy eating. They want to just be able to fuel, right? So it's like here you have the opportunity to kind of remeasure your desire behind what you're putting your energy into, especially if it's something that you deem to be important or you're trying to build a life or a daily routine around. What's the desire that you have? Because here, with Mars squaring the nodes, you might be like, you know what? I only did this because fill in the blank thing, but I don't actually need to or want to actually do this. And you can see new pathways to maybe putting that down and having a different experience, putting your energy towards something else that you do truly desire and also need to be doing in your life, which is great to have all of that evaluation because later in the evening, we see the moon come into the energy of Virgo, okay? Moon and Virgo, we're organizing, we're getting our routines and our daily life together. We're looking at the health and the wellness of ourselves at an emotional level. We're also being problem solvers. We're looking for solutions here now. It's like, okay, so internally, what I found out during my long old void of course time, and then having Mars square the destiny points of where I'm supposed to be going and what I'm supposed to be putting down, I found out there's some things I don't want to do, but if I'm not going to do those anymore, or if I'm going to delegate and hand those things off for someone else to do, what are kind of the internal rearrangements and reprogrammings and problem solving that I also need to bring to the table to put things back into some kind of emotional and functional order. Now, another great place when the moon is traveling through Virgo is to ask, you know, am I being of service here emotionally in your household? In your household, are you emotionally available for the people around you? If you are at an event, many people will be at NORWAC, right? Are you with the people that you're with? Are you emotionally available to give and take and pass and exchange information? Virgo is ruled by Mercury, right? Are you there? Are you available to be of service? Now, my caveat to this has been a real whole experience. I was actually talking about this just a couple weeks ago with my spiritual teacher. And it's this idea that I have that for me to be of service, I need to show up, well put together, just deliver information or be kind and loving all of the time, right? And that is not the universal way. And that's something that as a highly Venus energy, it's sometimes hard for me to remember that the way I am of service in your life and in our story is that I'm kind of the monster in your story. I'm the one telling you no to what you think is a fantastic idea. I'm the one who shows up and I have an attitude and I'm bossy, right? Like I would not like that to be the general way that I live. Or I'm the one who in conversation, I say the one thing that pushes the one button for you, even if I didn't mean to, and you catch a resentment with me that I don't even know you have. You know what I mean? Or you do it to me and I catch a resentment you don't know I have. You're sleeping beautifully hopefully I'm awake for the next 7 nights, right? So it's kind of this idea too of having to surrender to the great flow of being as present as I can and as willing to participate in the unfolding of our stories. That's how I am of service, and I let the universe kind of unfold us where we go. And one of the things I try and keep in mind is that the universe is kind and loving, and I try to align myself with that vibration. And from there, what happens is something for us to work on together. It's an invitation to engage this power, the universe, whatever you'd like to call it, in the way that's so appropriate at that time. So try and hear that, take that with you, see if that resonates with you. Okay, Saturday, we're moving into this last quarter, moon time. Now we come here every month, right? Like we get to have this like every time we have a 28-day cycle. Now this is going to be at 6 degrees of Virgo. So locate 6 degrees of Virgo in your chart first of all. And then we can look at where you're at this, you know, this fork in the road, this place where you're turning away from something. You're like, yep, I'm willing to let that unfold and unwind and let it go, and I'm going to move forward on my path in a different way. But there's no way to come to the last quarter without doing some shedding. So take the time on Saturday. It's early in the day here. You know, like, what are you shedding? What are you putting down? Look for the clues around you. If it's like, yeah, that's not of service to me anymore. That's not me being of service anymore. That's not the solution to the challenge that I'm having anymore, right? So look for these things that show you, that give you the clear indication of, yes, this is your turning away point. Okay, later in the day, so I shouldn't say later in the day, this is at night. Okay, I just have a problem with at night this week, you guys. So at night, we're going to see the sun come into a square with Saturn. Now, depending, of course, where you are in the world, you may be experiencing this aspect earlier in the day. Either way, you know, if you're up and you're shaking your bonbon, or you're working, some people are working at this time, just know that the Sun square Saturn is an aspect we're going to experience here late Saturday. So what we've got when we've got the Sun square Saturn is our light, heat, and our motivation squaring Saturn, who is trying to create boundaries and trying to take us to the next level. So one of the things I would call you to remember under this aspect is, this is the square that says, where are you ready to build character over comfort? Where are you willing to build in the discipline over the comfort in order to have what you want, right? This is a prioritizing aspect. What is the priority for you here? Because what you're focusing in on, what you're bringing to your current reality and attention, is what is going to grow and what's going to expand. So under this energy, you have an opportunity to bring a priority into focus. And we will see this again in November 23rd to be exact. So just know that there's some space to kind of, work with this. Now, one of the things I think when Sun Saturn comes together is to understand what is a priority, and we've been traveling with some of that this week, is you may need to have 10-15 minutes of downtime, being by yourself, doing some journaling, writing some things out. I don't know what it is, but there is magic, pure magic, when you put pen to paper. So write it out. What are the priority things for you that are unfolding and catching your attention as we're traveling through the Saturday energy? And you will really have that vibration to work with all of Sunday as well. So really get juicy in it, get pruny, bring in some information that you think helps you decide, yeah, is this really a priority for me? Or how do I actually prioritize this? And I think you feel a bit more prepared to take some really gorgeous action, okay? All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, I hope you have a gorgeous week. Please let me know in the comment section down below how things are unfolding for you. Please like this video. We are out here trying to help the rest of the soulmates find us through the vision of the algorithm, right? So please make sure that you like this video if you've got any version of value from it, and share it. My God, share it. Somebody needs to hear that it is okay to be doing this growing work, and hear where the holds and the folds are, and when to rest and when to move. So share it with somebody if this can be of value to them as well. I love you guys, and I will see your beautiful faces next week. Bye, everybody.